It's telling me I don't have any.
Well, hello there. Hi, I'm Nana Afua Adezawa the First, and today I have two special men in my life on Queen Mother Speaks. Welcome to the third episode talking about the Underground Railroad. Please stay tuned. We've got some amazing guests. With me is Jamal, my grandson, who wrote a book at 8 years old. We have Mercy in the studio today. We have Dr. Queen Mother Dashanaba Kemp. Dashanaba King. I'm Teresa Kemp. Anyway, we have with us on my lap is Zaire. This is my youngest grandson. I have three on the way, 8 children, 17 grands, 7 great grands. So this one's going to be joining me for part of the show today. Say hi. Will you say hi? Hi. Put your hand. There you go. So anyway, back to Queen Mother, and she's going to start us out with some breathing, our inspiration, and tell you more about Queen Mother Speaks. Stay tuned. If you've ever wanted to write a book with your family to document your family's oral history, stay tuned, call some friends, watch, share, subscribe on YouTube, follow, and let us know where you're watching the show from this morning. So, to you, Queen Mother.
Thank you, Nana. It is a beautiful day. And thank you for tuning in. Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. East Africa time and 10 a.m. New York time for those of you tuning in from America. And let me just take a moment to say hello and give a shout out to some of the people who actually are tuning into the show today. We are in season 8, and the theme is If Not You, Who? If not now, when? The time is now. That is our new theme for season 8. And we are going to take, on one of the shows, we're going to take a moment to talk about that fully, about the time being now, to talk about where that phrase even came from. I want to say hello to Nana, who is hosting the shows in the month of August. Hello to baby Zaire, who's also with us today. You know what? It's a good thing in life. See, some people would not do the show if the mama hadn't come home to babysit. Some people would just have said, "Oh, Queen Mother, we can't do it today because we have to babysit." But Nana is an interactive mom, an interactive grandmother, an interactive Queen Mother. Okay, and she said, "Look, if Daddy ain't here, the show must go on." So I want to thank you, Nana, for that. I want to thank you for that very much. Let me just take a moment and bring one of our guests into the studio. Thank you, Mercy. Now we'll go back to me. And what we want to talk about right now is we talked about how the time is now and how you have to make steps to make that happen in your life. Okay, you got to be the ones to do something about it. Hit that like, that share, and that comment button. Let us know that you're there. When I go in the supermarket or I go out, I run into some people I know, and they'll say, "Oh, Queen Mother, we've been watching the show. We're really enjoying it." And I say to them, "Why don't you like, share, or comment?" They say, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know." Well, I'm just going to encourage you to let us know that you're there so we can work on building our audience, of course. Shout outs to the audience and Bimbola, great family friend of the King family, also a great friend of Queen Mother Speak, and one of the few people in America who had a chance to meet the husband, Chief Tugby Tashili IV. Hello to you, Abimbola. Hello to Lady Mo, Ursula Anderson, Michelle, Ernestine, High Priestess Seishan, Carmen, Tina. All of these are from Atlanta. Yes. Now, Nana has already told you who's in studio today, so I'm just going to give them an opportunity to come in and say hello. Okay, this is the opportunity to greet the studio audience and say hello. Say hello.
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 Okay, very good. Very good. We'll go back to our single screen here with Queen Mother. So now, one of the things that we do in Queen Mother Speaks is we normally bring in the Art of Living Institute. And what they do for us is they give us a breathing exercise online for about 10 or 15 minutes. Unfortunately, the facilitator could not be on the show today. So what Queen Mother is going to do is I'm going to do 4 breaths with you today versus the normal one or two, okay, that we do. All right, I want to remind you to continue to wash your hands and continue to be safe, not because the government asked you to, but because you know that's the right thing to do. Can you be with that? Yeah. Welcome again to Queen Mother Speaks, which is a safe space for inspiration and expression. Bonga Dada Bonga, which is a new platform, comes on live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Kenya time, 12 noon New York time. We invite you to tune in to Bonga Dada Bonga. It is a platform for women's voices, and right now we've got women who was in that political race here in Kenya to come on and talk to you about what that was really like. How has Kenya changed from 30 years ago in terms of its voting procedures? We've got a guest in studio who will talk with us a little bit about that today. Okay, so now in this moment, I want to go to our meditation reading. But before that, we're going to do some breathing exercises. So, how do we do that? It's like this: through your nose, you're going to breathe in to the count of 8, you're going to hold it to the count of 8, and then release to the count of 12. So you're going to breathe in slowly through your nose to the count of 8. You're going to hold it to the count of 8 and then release very slowly to the count of 12. Okay, are you ready? And those in studio can breathe the exercise with me. Let's get started. Now, I want you to really get into this exercise with me today and breathe the breath of life and let us relax our bodies, our mind, our spirits. Let's do number 2. You ready? Here we go. Okay, release through your nose. Be with it. Be with this. You can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever feels good for you. Let's do number 3. Very good. We're gonna have one more. Here we go. Breathe in slowly to the count of 8. Hold to the count of 8. Release again through your nose to the count of 12. Here we go. Number 4. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for breathing with me, knowing that it is the breath of life that keeps us all here on a place called planet Earth. And I want you to know that in your weakest moment, in your sad moments, even in your happy moments, you can practice breathing. You can practice breathing. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So now we're going to go to our affirmation for today. And the topic is, I'm going to repeat the topic, and I want you to listen. Listen with your heart. I am whole and divinely created. I am whole and divinely created. I am whole and divinely created. Perhaps nothing affects us more in our life's endeavors, more than who we think we are. There is a saying that if we quiet our mind, our soul speaks. In other words, we need to get comfortable telling our own self, telling my own self, you telling your own self to be quiet. Once our mind is quiet, we have the space to tune into our soul's truth. Our soul's truth. The soul knows that it is whole and complete. We must know and accept this about ourselves, for it influences how we show up for ourselves in our lives. I know who I am. I tell myself the truth every day. Hmm. I am whole and divinely created. You are whole and divinely created. I move in life with the assurance that I am God's unique and divine creation. I ask you to move in life also with the assurance that you are God's unique, unique, and divine creation. Hmm. I honor this truth about myself in my daily decision makings. I see this same truth in others. Moreover, I am willingly acknowledging their divinity too. Thank you, will, in me, as me, through me, through the Christ within, and so it is. Our scripture reading for today, Jesus said to her, "Have courage, my daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." Our scripture reading for today and our devotion is from Hillside International Truth Center, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. And the meditation itself is from a little booklet that's called From the Hill. Daily Thoughts from the Hill. Again, that's Hillside Chapel and Truth Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And you can actually get a copy of that booklet. They have a daily thought for every day of the week, every month of the year, year after year. Hillside International Truth Center, Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for that. Okay, so now we're going to turn it back over to Nana for the show today. Are you ready, Nana? Here we go. Here is Nana. Thank you. Again, this is Queen Mother Speaks every Wednesday, every week, live at 5 p.m. Nana is your host in the month of August. Nana?
Hi, so I'm back. And as she said, this month we're talking about the Underground Railroad. This is the 200th anniversary of some of the work that Harriet Tubman did on the Underground Railroad. I can hear some sounds in the back, so go ahead and mute your mic and let's see if we can get rid of some of the background noise. Okay, so the Underground Railroad, what is that? Is it a railroad that was underground? No. It was a system of people, places that hid people who had been enslaved. Many people think that only Africans were enslaved here in America, but that's not true. Many people think that slavery began in America. I've seen things that said 1619. Well, Native Americans had slavery. They were slaves and had slaves. And then some were abolitionists. Everybody is not the same. There's not one flat statement you can say that covers everybody. Here in America, the people who were in the Philippines, they had come to America in the 1500s. The Spanish had come in the 1500s. Asian people had come in the 1500s. And the British are the ones who came in 1619. So if you think that slavery only began or history only began in the 1600s here in America, that's because you're only listening to British history. So my family and what we were talking about today has documented our oral history, and it's taken 5 generations, over 170 some years to finally do that. And we tried to do it many times, and people say, no, that's not true, can't be true. Where did you get that from? and each generation made a footprint. So I want to talk to you today about making a digital footprint, posting your pictures, posting the oral history of your family online. Have each generation leave behind. They have left them, but the question is, what did you do with them? I pass by the streets when I'm driving through Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here in America. My co-host and Mercy are in Nairobi, Kenya, in Africa. And when I go down the streets here, I see all this stuff that has been set out. It hasn't been saved or preserved. And it is the precious memories, the blood, sweat, and tears of each of the generations that came before you. So it's important that you do some research and find out what you have before you start throwing things away. Save photos, save birth certificates, death certificates, the Bible. Your Bible can be used as a legal document because it has the birth dates, death. It can be used in lieu of different records that you may or may not have. So, come here. Let me give my buddy something to do. So, my guest today, Jamal, is my grandson. So, one of the efforts that we made was to document the Underground Railroad, and I'm his grandmother, and they call me Nana from Atlanta. And what he and I did was to document our family history. So I told him the story about how our ancestors came from what was the Kingdom of Benin in Africa. They went through Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, it was called Valongo. As you can see, I'm having a little bit of movement here. And they then came through the Caribbean to Charleston, South Carolina, to the port of Charleston, South Carolina, on a slave ship. They wasn't on a tourist ship, by the way, so don't think they're on a luxury cruise. But they came enslaved, Peter and Eliza Pharaoh. Peter came from what is now Nigeria. Eliza was captured and came from what is now Dahomey. And at one time, from Nigeria all the way over to Ghana was the Kingdom of Benin. So before we get into all that, and I'm going to have you come back, we're going to bring in Queen Mother and Mercy so you can find out a little bit about the election in Kenya. So you ask yourself, what does that have to do with the Underground Railroad? Well, the main thing is that in Kenya, women don't have equal rights. They had been beaten, robbed, raped, and slashed. People have taken machetes and slashed women, men, and children, regardless of the race, visitors, and people who live in Kenya. And so when I heard about that and Queen Mother heard about that, that's when we developed the show Bunga Dada Bunga to give them a voice, just like they did on the Underground Railroad. If no one knew the plight of the enslaved people here in America and around the world, the Underground Railroad was an international effort. And it's important. It's very important that even if you don't live there, that you participate and you fight to give people who are embattled, oppressed, discriminated against, or marginalized a voice. There's a proverb that I had heard that resonates with me daily. It was, someone was bothering Asian people, but I wasn't Asian, so I didn't do anything. Someone bothered white people, but I'm not white, so I didn't do anything. Someone bothered or harassed Jewish people, but I didn't do anything because I'm not Jewish, which is not the case. We are of Hebrew descent. Someone bothered Muslim people, but I'm not Muslim, so I didn't say anything or do anything. And what happens, now they're coming for me, and there's no one left to help me. So when I heard that, when I see something, I say something. If I can change someone's life for the better, put a smile on their face, or help in any way, shape, or form, the scripture that God gave me is, God is able to make all grace abound towards me, come running, leaping, and jumping towards me, that I am always sufficient in all things to abound to every good work. And you, I want to let you know that you, under the sound of our voice, are a good work. People you don't even know love you and are working behind the scenes. God will cause people from around the world to come to your aid when you're in distress, and you don't even know it. And we often don't even say thank you. So I want to take a chance for us to have just a moment of silence. Then we're going to bring back Queen Mother and Mercy to talk to us about the Kenyan election. Winning is not what it's about and doesn't make a difference. The main thing is that you participate, because if you don't participate, Ambassador Young taught me, if we don't show up, they could say, oh, we would have let them come to eat at the lunch counters. Oh, we would have let them shop and live anywhere. But until you actually try, that's when you know that you will be able to do it, or you're being discriminated against and can't do it. Women in Kenya can't even decide on the length of their dress. If their dresses aren't long enough, people have stopped them, robbed them, raped them. They can't go for medical care without a husband's consent. They don't have a voice in terms of election. There's a 2/3 law on the books. And right now, women are participating at 1/12. Money, internet resources, phone resources are stopping many, many people from that participation. And if you are able to participate in anything, even if it's not at your house, don't say, oh, us four and no more. Help. And that's what the Underground Railroad is about. So let's bring in Mercy. She ran for a political office, and I wanted you all to hear about it. So we asked her not just to be on our Bunga Dada Bunga television show, which airs on Thursdays, 7 p.m. in Kenya, and that makes it 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, or in New York. Okay, so let's bring in Mercy. Queen Mother, I need you to do the switching because I don't have the board. Hi there.
Hi.
So, can you tell us, first of all, your name and where you're from and a little bit about yourself?
My name is Mercy Waithinji. Sorry about that. I come from Kenya. I come from Nyeri County, which is in the nation of Kenya. Kenya is in Africa.
Yes.
And thank you, Nana, for the insight. They were really good. And I loved it when you said that someone bothered Asian people, and I did not do anything because I am not Asian. So I really love what you are doing, because we are our brothers and sisters keeper. So yes, I did run for office for the Senate. I wanted to be the senator of Nyeri County during the elections, but there was a wave because the dominant party in Nyeri County went through from president to governor to senator to MP down to MCA. So that is what we call voting 60.
Okay.
So it didn't matter. If you're in the right party, even if you are the wrong person, you sailed through.
Okay.
If you are the right person, but not in the right party, there was no way, you didn't stand a chance.
Okay.
So that's what happened, especially in Nyeri County. And we had counties where the waves were very strong. There were two dominant parties, that is UDA, and there was Azimio. So in the Azimio strongholds, the Azimio candidates got the positions. Yes.
Well, let's set some background for people watching around the world. Here in America, we usually have 3 or 4 parties only, and we maybe have 4 candidates running for office. But I was told that in Kenya, how many people were running for office?
For instance, for the president, we had 4 parties.
Okay.
And each party, we had the UDA, we had, or rather, we had Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. Azimio and Kenya Kwanza had so many parties.
Right.
But the dominant party in Kenya Kwanza was UDA, and the dominant party in Azimio was ODM and a bit of Jubilee. So there are very many parties in Kenya, and every election cycle, new parties come up, some disappear, but generally they get together as coalitions so that they can vie as a force, and it works for them.
Yes.
So parties are so many in Kenya.
That's what they were telling me, that it was like 83 political parties and
Yes.
over 5,000 candidates running for office.
Women was 5,000.
Oh, it was
Correction.
5,000 women.
5,000 women who started out running, threw their hat in the ring for this Kenya election 2022. By the time
Yes.
we got to the primaries in May, the numbers may have gone down somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000.
Wow.
Yes.
Mercy, it was my first intention to try to write grants for the women to have money to run for office, because usually
Yes.
here in America we have only maybe 4 or 5 candidates. So when they told
Yes.
me 5,000, I was like, no way, because we only had a number of weeks. We had less than maybe 15 weeks before the election, which would be very
Wow.
fast time. And then I thought, well, even if I could pull that one off, I don't even know these women. You know, you don't want to call in every favor you have, and then at the end of the day, your candidate is allocated to a different party, has to change the message, say what the new party wants them to say, go where the new party wants them to go. So have you ever had that
Yes.
type of experience or seen that happen?
One thing I saw was that parties predetermined who they wanted to represent them.
Okay.
It did not matter how popular a candidate was.
Mm-hmm.
If the party decided, if the bigwigs of the party did not want you, you'd just fall through the cracks.
Okay.
And that is why very many people that were thrown out of parties decided to vie as independent candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them did go through.
Okay.
And others, the other thing that was very interesting was that those were thrown out, those that were thrown out performed much better than those that were handpicked.
Got you. Well, because they probably had a better message and are very sincere and determined.
Yes, they were better. People loved them more. They were more patriotic. But the ones that the party went with were beholden to that party.
Right.
So it didn't matter, as long as they were beholden or they had money to give to the party, they had to sail through. So that's why there were so many independent candidates.
Also,
and yes, and as Mercy,
they were promising to give the people that voted for them money.
Oh yeah, there was also that. Politics in Kenya can be very expensive because politicians dish out a lot of money, crazy money. For instance, I did not have resources. I did not have money. And I kept on telling the electorate that money is just one resource. I also kept on telling them that there is a lot of money that would help them, but what they lack is access to information, which I was going to give to them. And I told them the truth, that I did not have money. There was no money in Mercy's pockets. Right. But there was so much money out there. I would hold their hands. And by the way, I still will show them where the money is.
Yes.
And when I talk about the money, I'm talking about affirmative action funds. The electorate does not know about them.
Right.
And yet it is money that they can borrow that is interest-free, that would really spruce up their businesses. Yes. They don't know.
Right.
I'll also tell the youth, you know, we have a quite a big number of youth.
Yes.
But they don't have jobs, they can't do businesses because they don't have skills.
Right.
There is money put aside to educate them.
Right.
And it is so easy. There is a portal for colleges and university services that opens once in a while. And any youth from whichever corner of Kenya, as long as they have a KCSE index number, a KCSE index number, KCPE index number, they qualify to apply to go to those colleges. And there is money to take them through for 2 years. And for me, I thought that was huge. And I was telling the electorate, money is not in Mercy's pocket, but Mercy will hold your hand, show you where the money is, and our youth will be empowered with skill, and that will be a life changer right there. But on the other hand, because of the state of the economy, people are so hungry. People with money just would dish out money. And these people, and the money they would dish out would be $100, $100.5. And that was enough for people to decide that no, we don't want stories. We want the money we are seeing now, no matter how little, than the money that we are being told about for later.
Yes.
So like Esau in the Bible, they ended up selling their birthright for a meal for just one day, which was so tragic for me.
Yes. The information is important. Information is important. So if you would like us here on Queen Mother Speaks to inform the people and put that information coming from you, we can do that because we do the show year around.
Yes.
So people need to know information. So please help us to share that information with the youth and the people of Kenya, because there's so many resources, even here in America and throughout the world. We do programs, a grant writing program here on Queen Mother Speaks, so that people who need grant money in Africa, or people who are here in America that want to write grants and send the money to Africa for tourism, for business ventures, for education, can do so. Because it's very important to get money in Africa. If it's not able to generate its own money and own jobs and own resources, though it is the richest continent in the world and the largest continent, they have kept Africa so that it seems like it can't support itself. But what happens is people around the world are pulling the resources and keeping people in poverty. So we must teach our youth and adults good business ethics, how to create jobs, how to create programs for education, for skills, for whatever it is you need. I would like educational institutions in every county in Kenya, medical care for everyone equally throughout Kenya. And they told me that some of the counties don't have hospitals and don't have universities.
Actually, what is shocking is that even those that have hospitals, you go to hospitals, there are those counties where there are health units, there's the medical personnel, but you find that the machines are not there, the medicine is not there, reagents are not there, even at the health centers. And the importance, and I was telling them that there is money allocated to counties for that. And as a senator, I would oversight just to make sure that money allocated to the health centers would actually go to the health centers, and so that we don't have congestion in the level 4, level 5, and level 6 hospitals. And even make sure that even those level 4, level 5, level 6, there is enough medicine, the machines are working, and if there is need to replace some older ones, then they would be replaced, because healthcare is a real challenge for the electorate.
Yes.
Because what they do, they get prescriptions, they are sent to buy, or they are sent to do tests at laboratories out there, or the pharmacies out there, and it ends up being very expensive. And they do not even know that it is a basic right for them to get or to access healthcare.
Yes. I'm one of the Queen Mothers in Ghana, and in Ghana and Nigeria and other countries that I have visited, the people who are rich are able to leave the country for medical care for themselves and their families. And so then they don't put the money and resources back into the counties and communities where they even live and come from. And like you said, there was a hospital there, but here in America, we have food service in the hospital. So if you're in the hospital here, they feed you for free every day, several meals a day. And they don't have that in African countries. For the most part, they don't have, like you said, the equipment, the machines, they didn't have lights. They are doing a great job. The people who work there, and let me make no mistake about it, the people who work there were so knowledgeable, very skilled, super dedicated. Even one time in Ghana, they didn't pay the doctors for months. They still came to work every day and took care of the sick people. I was amazed. And the people trained, local people in the community train under these doctors and nurses and provide the health care if the doctor is not there in your area every day. Because some are touring where they go around to different communities that don't have medical clinics and hospitals. So in your county, what do you think is the number one need?
As you say, even in Kenya, we have very, very qualified medical personnel.
Yes.
And they are there nice and early. Mm-hmm. But the most they can do is just prescribe and ask their patients to go and do diagnostics out there, do laboratory tests out there. And once they get the results, again, they get prescriptions to go and get medicine out there because there are no medicines in hospital. Right. And I would say that we should make our hospitals so good that even if Mercy is a senator or a governor, I just access the same hospitals.
Right.
But it's very wrong because the people in positions are able to access medical care. They're able to go to South Africa, to America, to Europe for medical care, to India. Why can't we even make our medical care better? Yet, I am saying that there are locations for that. A location is there. And if only they used it properly, and where there are gaps, then we get back to you and say, yes, this was what was allocated, but this was the deficit. And we go out there and look for grants to take care of the deficit and account so well. I tell you, the citizens would then access that medical care, which is so important. So I feel so much pain when I see Kenyans dying.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Simply because they could not access quality medical care. And that is actually what drove me to run. Because as senator, I knew I would oversight and I would make sure that the county of Nyeri would set the standards in as far as Medicare was concerned. Yes.
Well, we'll do everything here to help you to bring your dreams into fruition in Nyeri County, because whether you win or not doesn't mean that you cannot be effective. I took a lesson from a lady who was running for office here. Her name is Stacey Abrams. They did all kinds of dirty politics here to keep her from winning the governor's seat. They took hundreds of thousands of people off the registration rolls. They said all kinds of bad things about her. She didn't win the first time. She's running again. But what she did is she went out and registered hundreds of thousands of new voters. She continued to work and do things for housing, healthcare, education, everything she could for the people because she has a heart for the people. She's running again. And I'm pretty sure this time she's going to make it. So I hope that you will keep this same fiery spirit that you have and let us see what we can do to keep getting your message out on Queen Mother Speaks to the people of Kenya and around the world. You've done good. We are so proud of you. I can't say it enough, because if you had not run, it doesn't put pressure on the people who get elected to do anything locally. Now they're going to have to change. And for the people around the world, something I had never seen before, They here in America, we do T-shirts for the electorate. They do the fabric wrappers, and they even had donkeys parading down the street in fabric with the political party on there. So imagine having to make clothes for donkeys with your political message and things on there. They gave aprons, hats, T-shirts to all the people in the market where people go to buy their food every day. I don't think they understood the level of money, Mercy, required by a candidate is different and more in Kenya, because we have rules where candidates cannot pay people for their votes. You all don't have that law on the books. And like you said, they were promising people all different levels, very high amounts of money if they'll cast
Yes.
their vote for them. So I'm curious in the coming weeks to see if you find people that were actually paid for their votes. Let us know, because I thought maybe they were going to make the promise and then not give them the money.
What happens is that, especially the night before election, hundreds of millions is dished out.
Wow.
Yes. At night.
Yes.
So even if there was a law, enforcing would be a problem.
Okay.
Because the giver and the given agree.
Yes. Yes.
So
Now, the other thing I wanted to say.
Corrupt.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying they are both corrupt.
Yes.
Because one is happy to be given. And the other, as it was my first time in politics, and as I was distributing the badges for my agents, I was wondering, what are families doing out at night? And the way it's cold right now in Nyeri, it is so cold. And they would all be out there. So I asked, and I was told later, they were waiting for money. They are waiting for money, and they will be given. And unfortunately, say even where there is a race, and we have 6 candidates.
Right.
And 4 candidates have too much money. The 4 will be flashing the money. And when these guys go voting, they will remember who paid them last.
Okay. Wow.
Not who will do what for them once they're in office. Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
That is something. Well, I want to thank you for being with us this morning on Queen Mother Speaks. One more thing. I keep saying one more thing. You know how women are, but how people are. The main thing is that in the last 30 years, no one has ever been brought to justice for the abuse, for the killings, for the robbings, for the rapings. So the president and the judicial system and the police promised before the election that they have this 2-week process where they were going to be watching, catching, and prosecuting, bringing to justice the perpetrators of violence. So please come back and let us know if anybody was ever held accountable for the election violence or abuse of people during the election. We look forward to having you back on. Thank you so much for being with us today. We love you.
Love you, Nana. Love everyone on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Let us bring in our next guest, Dr. Jamal, so that we can go ahead and talk about the Underground Railroad. So, Jamal, have you been listening to the process that they've been going through in Kenya?
Yes. I actually didn't know that it was all going down like that. And,
yes. Young men with machetes, your age to older, take a machete and go out and actually cut up the people, go into their homes, rob, rape, and beat them. And can you imagine candidates paying $100 for your vote?
That's crazy to me.
Can you imagine? And you're a senior this year, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In high school in Bexley, Ohio. Can you imagine going to social studies and having to read about 5,000 candidates to follow them through the election process at school?
No, I can't.
Do you all? Go ahead.
See, in the States, issues like that aren't really talked about, and so I feel like it's really important that we are discussing this right now, so the audience can learn, especially over here in the U.S. that, you know, you can take action and you can do things to help.
Yes. So on that note, you've always had a heart for other people and for Africa, even before you found out all of our heritage. For our studio audience, when Jamal, he's an artist. What's your favorite type of art to do?
I love to draw.
Mm-hmm. And so he was sketching, and when he was in preschool, they took 10 of Jamel's drawings and auctioned them off and built a wing of the school. So when his mother told me that, you know, I didn't even get one, and your mother didn't get one either, did she?
No, she didn't.
Have you ever seen any of those drawings?
No. Actually, I was told by my mom that they auctioned them off, and they had never discussed or talked to me about auctioning my art off. So,
well, you were under 5 years old.
I know,
but they could have. No, I got upset because they could have put a scholarship fund aside for you. They could have given your mother part of the money or a percentage of the money for you. They could have done a lot of things. You are an extraordinary artist. And that was one of the reasons I wanted you to illustrate my book. And so Jamal is the illustrator of the book, Keeper of the Fire. And then you and I wrote a book. So what are some of the memories you have of my mom and dad talking to you or seeing the quilts or history at their house?
I always remember that they were really big on teaching me like history, and not so much as our history, but they would always make sure that I'm educated on certain things. Like, I remember Papa always wanted me to, you know, take piano classes with him or go golfing with him. And I remember briefly that Omi, my great grandmother and Nana's mother, she would always tell me about the quilts and the plantation quilts. And at the time, I was too young to really understand. But now that I'm a little older, that I realize that it's such an important thing.
Right. Because people who are enslaved on the Underground Railroad did not have a way to get free. And our family, what's really interesting to me, Jamal lives in Bexley, Ohio, which is actually Columbus, Ohio, too. So tell us a little bit about your school.
I live in a predominantly Jewish white neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. And always have.
Yeah, we're probably ranked 102 in the U.S. for academics. We have a 98%
millions of schools.
Rate. Yeah, and so it's very an enclosed community, kinda. Yeah, people in Bexley, you know, it's very small, so you see someone like that, you know, across the street all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And how big would you say Bexley is in miles?
Probably not even it's probably a mile long.
Right. Yeah. But it's one of the most affluent areas in Columbus, Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because the kids there are very privileged. Tell you, look, there's your cousin Jamal. Say hi. We went to visit Jamal because I took Zaire with me to the Dallas Museum, which was an 11-hour drive, and he stayed with me for the week. And I go to Jamal's house, and when I was there, Jamal loves animals and watched animal shows. When you were between 2 and 4 years old, I can't even remember, how many dinosaurs did you know about?
Probably around 30.
Yeah. So when Jamal came to visit me, like he said, education is really big in our family. We got the Atlanta City Pass. We went to the Fernbank Science Center. So Jamal knew the names of dinosaurs. And the question was dinosaur habitat. And I think it was 5 different habitats that you were telling them about. And
it was 4.
Mm-hmm. and the guides had it wrong. And they were college students volunteering during the summer. And here's this little 8-year-old telling them about dinosaur habitat. What was your favorite dinosaur?
At the time of the Suchomimus.
And what does that even look like, or where is it from?
It's a raptor, and it was in the Jurassic period.
And so what happens, Queen Mother, is Jamal knows the names of dinosaurs, their habitat. He can look at a dinosaur and tell you whether it's going to eat people, whether it ate. I remember distinctly he was telling me, Nana, that's a marine, it was a bird, but it was some type of marine mammal. Anyway, I'm thinking it's just a bird. Long story short, Jamal had the type of bird, its habitat. When we went to the zoo, what was your biggest memory of the zoo, Jamal?
Shoot, I don't know. We went to the zoo so many times.
Well, when we went to the zoo in Atlanta, Dash, people started following us around because Jamal, and of course me, I usually don't tell people we could talk to the animals. But when we go to Kenya to see Dashanaba, you know, their animals are running wild. You can go see. What's your favorite animal, Queen Mother?
Wow, it's somewhere between the elephant and the giraffe.
Okay.
Somewhere between them. I like them both. I've had a few encounters with the elephant. You know, when I've been out on safari, you know, when the elephants, when they decide to flare their ears, that means they're ready to do something. And I was near an elephant and I didn't know that. So it was only the grace of God that kept him from doing anything to me, because I didn't know he was ready for battle when his ears started carrying on like that. See how God take care of us.
Exactly.
I also
go ahead.
I also had an encounter, okay, with a what shall I call it? A cheetah?
Or leopard, I think.
Yeah, I had a encounter with a cheetah. I was on safari and I woke up early and I felt like walking. So I put on my walking shoes and got my little radio and earphones, and I went out just to singing and walking. The Lord is blessing me right now, Lord, right now. And I happened to look over to the side and I saw a cheetah sitting in the grass. And I froze because I don't know, he wasn't even 5 feet away from me. And we know that cheetahs run. We already know that cheetahs can run at 70 miles an hour. And I just stood there because I just didn't know what to do. And then I started crying. I know I cannot run him. And I started crying. And I'm like, Lord, this ain't right. This ain't fair, Lord. I've been working in the church since I was a little girl. I done cleaned toilets. I done everything for you, Lord. And now you're going to let a cheetah eat me? Oh, Lord, that's not fair. I thought you loved me, Lord. And I'm just having an argument with the Lord because I know that this guy is coming for me. And all of a sudden, the cheetah just kind of stood up and he stretched. And then he just walked away. And I'm just still standing there. And I was so scared I peed on myself. I felt the warm water going down my leg, and I said, "Oh Lord, I know He coming for me now. He gonna smell this pee. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Lord. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Lord."
You know,
but
people
he walked away.
That they're in Africa with wild
remembered
animals.
that I needed to leave, so I ran fast back to the campsite. Cheetah, cheetah, cheetah. And my friends who were with me jumped up. I don't even know if it was 7 a.m. in the morning, because you know it gets daylight very early in Africa. So they say, "What's the matter, Queen Mother?" I said, "I just saw a cheetah." They said, "What? We've been in Africa 7 years and we've never seen a cheetah. Take us, show us the cheetah." And you know what I said to those brothers? They must be out of their mind.
Right.
They're out of their mind. I was not going back to find the cheetah for them. So later in the day, I guess about an hour later, we got ready and we went for breakfast. And when you go for breakfast, the waiters always ask you, "What animals did you see today, and how is everything?" And I told them that I had gone walking. I ran into a cheetah. And you know what
Mm-hmm.
they told me?
What?
They said, "Listen, don't ever go walking by yourself on safari. That is a very, very, very dangerous thing to do." They also
Right.
said the only reason why he didn't eat you is because he was already full.
Exactly.
He didn't move. He didn't move because he was too full. He'd already eaten.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why he didn't bother you. So they begged me not to ever do that again. And I will tell you that I have never done that again.
Well,
That's my animal story, Jamal.
when
That's my
when
animal
Jamal
story.
was in second grade, he saw online about the gorillas needing help in Uganda. Do you want to tell us
Mhm.
about that, Jamal?
Yeah. So my school, they gave us an opportunity to start up a project, and it was any project we wanted. And so I researched online. I took Nana's laptop like I always do, and I researched online, and I was like, well, since I love animals, I might as well start a fund on it, endangered animals. So I looked up, and then it said that the fund, all the funds were at the time were focused on gorillas because it was close to when the gorilla in the zoo in Columbus had died and got shot.
Oh,
And so uh, I started I started like gathering pennies from my classmates, and I don't remember how much money I
two
ended up
thousand
making.
dollars. Yeah.
There you
He
go.
was
She
in second grade, Mercy, and was able to, his school would come by in the morning, a big jug, the water jug from a water cooler, and drop pennies in every day.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he raised $2,000. And I think initially what happened is he decided just to give a donation on our behalf because he could click on the buttons to give money. So of course, my mother and I, we gave money to the gorillas in Uganda, and then
What?
yes, so Jamel in second grade raised $2,000 with his school, help of his schoolmates for the gorillas in Uganda, and I think she had a baby, Jamel.
yeah, the organization ended up giving you a name of the gorilla that you saved, and I don't remember her name, but she did have a baby, and
Yeah,
that was probably one of the best moments.
because she was saved from poachers, and
Yeah.
people were killing gorillas, and they had this gorilla was about to become extinct, and so then when he was in third grade, he wanted a zoo. So, ladies, I had him do all the research, and he would actually take the telephone and call up the zoo association and say, "Can an 8-year-old have a zoo?" And they said yes. He just can't do the work on the animals. They said you have to get adults or people who've gone to college and veterinarian school to then go to college. So he came to visit me that summer, and we went to the Georgia Aquarium, the Fernbank Science Center with the dinosaurs, and we went to the zoo. So here we have to pay money, Mercy, for a tree branch for Jamel to feed the giraffes. So we're on this tall
What?
platform. Yes, I know, it's so funny. Up by
Yes.
the by where the giraffe's head is. So they give, Jamel is now 8 years old, and I pay the money, and they give Jamel these tree limbs to feed with leaves on it to feed the giraffes. Queen Mother, the tongues of giraffes, I'm trying to get my hands in the picture, are like 2 feet long. No, 2 feet long. So Jamel's standing there holding the branch. What did the giraffe do, Jamel?
He reached out for my arm, and his tongue just wrapped all the way around my arm. I thought
Oh
it
my
was
goodness.
What?
Yes, the
Oh,
giraffe, his tongue went in a spiral around Jamel's arm, saliva
oh
and
no.
all. He was licked.
Oh,
What
and
did
I
you
just
do,
remember
Jamel? What did
all
that
the
feel like? What did that
disgusting,
feel like?
disgusting.
Huh?
It
Disgusting.
was just
Because what I remember about giraffes is that their tongues feel like sandpaper.
it was it it felt a little weird. And I remember all the workers like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." They gave me a towel to wipe all the slobber off. It was just.
It was all over. I'm thinking, oh my God, his mom's going to kill me, her only child. And he came down here and got ate by a giraffe. I didn't even
Oh,
think giraffes
Lord.
ate people. But I just in my mind, after he wrapped his tongue around Jamel's arm about 4 times, I just saw him snatch Jamel into his mouth. So I'm holding on to him for dear life. But he just pulled, he's trying to get the tree branch. He got the branches, his arm and everything. So
Oh, my
people
Lord.
started following us around the zoo. Jamel knew that there were naked mole rats. Talked to the flamingos. We had the baby gorilla. Our gorilla had just had a baby at the Atlanta Zoo. So Jamel begins to dance and talk to the mommy gorilla. But I mean, she's a mile away behind glass. They have the big natural habitat, but it's like you got a window to the gorilla habitat. Next thing we know, all the people we were waiting, everybody wanted to see the baby. She gets her baby and brings the baby to Jamal to see. And they're interacting. Yes. So everybody rushes over and starts taking pictures of Jamal talking with the gorilla. And the mommy gorilla is showing off her baby for the first time ever. And people were taking pictures. And people began to follow us around the zoo as Jamal has me walking through the zoo, teaching me about the animals. So now what is your favorite animal, Jamal?
Now what's my favorite animal? Dingo.
And what is bingo?
A dingo is a wild
dingo.
dog. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a wild dog.
Mm-hmm. They're known for eating babies. If you ever watch the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Jamal Mercy talked me into developing a museum. So South Carolina Wilds Heritage Center. He came up with the name South Carolina Wilds, and then I couldn't decide museum, science center, so I just called it a heritage center. So I moved to McCormick, South Carolina, where my ancestors had property. I have 90 acres there, but I used the train depot, a historic train depot, to try to save the historic. It's over 108 years old, now about 120 years old. So I moved our museum collection. I have 44,000 artifacts, 1,000 textiles into the train depot. Jamel designed a facility, told me what we should be teaching, and I used that. But every day when he was 8, he would sit with me and tell me what he thought it should have, what we needed to get. But because we own the collection, I don't have to buy anything. I just have to do the flyers and advertising and things like that. So I opened South Carolina Wilds Heritage Center in 2015. And do you remember what year you got to come see it, Jamel?
No, I don't. But
I can't even think of how old you were. Mercy, I've had short-term memory loss from cancer.
Oh no, I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
It was going into my. No, I might have been 13. I was going into middle school.
Right.
And I remember I was spending the summer with you in Atlanta. We drove down
to South Carolina.
To South Carolina, and then you showed me around, and I just spent like all day there just checking everything out. It was a really great experience. I got to see Nana teaching a class of people, or like a bunch of people that came in, and she taught them about everything, and I was just like, it was a really cool experience to see that all of our ideas coming, like just seeing it in front of my eyes. It was really amazing.
Right. Everything that he wrote down, I tried to do great detail. I still have all the notes and papers from when he was little, and he would draw what he thought we should tell the people, what we should teach. I teach Mercy how to make soap, candy, jelly, butter. We have woodworking classes. We teach children to write books, because Jamel, the book, and Dash, I think I put how to order the book. Jamel illustrated my book, Keeper of the Fire. But then the book he wrote, we went to the Georgia Aquarium, and it was even more astounding. My phone died. And so people took pictures of Jamel talking to the animals, and they had beluga whales, whale sharks, big fish. The fish were bigger than cars. Crab were bigger than a car. And so, yes. What else do you remember about the aquarium, Jamal?
The main thing I remember is watching the dolphin show. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
And then what did you do after we watched the dolphin show?
Talked to the keeper and asked how old do I have to be to work with the dolphins, and she was like, "Well, you gotta be an adult." I was like,
Jamal is 8. He told the trainers that dolphins live a long time. How long do you think was it 80 years at Jamal?
Probably closer to 60.
Yeah. And he said, the people there working with the dolphins, you all are already old. So this dolphin's going to be lonely, upset, and crying because you're going to die. And it's going to be lonely because you're its best friend. Because the trainers, they would tell them, well, we work with them every day. We have master degrees. We have PhDs. Jamel's like, but you're old, and the dolphin's going to be crying because he's going to be lonely. And you need to hire people like me because I will be alive the dolphin's lifetime. And he could talk to the dolphins. He was untrained to give the dolphin the hand signals that they were doing. And the dolphins came over and they were talking to him, jumping all out the water and everything. And so they told Jamal when he was 16 that he could come back and work with the animals. But now what do you do during your summers, Jamal?
Train.
For what? What are you training for?
Football and track.
He went to the Junior Olympics and he was so concerned that he wasn't going to do well. I said, well, you have to go somewhere a couple of times, Mercy, before you dominate the situation. And so I was very proud of him. And in the book, Jamal's Deep Sea Adventure, we talk about our Gullah heritage, Gullah Geechee. They went from being Africans to being Igbos, to being Gullah people once they got here. But what people don't realize is we're the same people. If we take you out of Kenya, when you come to America, you're still Kenyan. You can become Kenyan American, but you still know your roots, your heritage. You can already read, write, and talk and have a lot of skills and leadership skills. And Jamal learned that when you come to America, you still have all of that. You don't forget how to read, how to do anything. I wanted to bring Jamal on the show to let people know you can change things no matter how young you are.
Yes.
One person can change the life of other people in Africa. And Jamal, what was the biggest? Jamal didn't even tell his teachers that he had authored a book, that he was the author of the book. How come?
I don't know.
I've wondered that.
I actually did, and they bought the book.
Yes, they bought the book.
Both books.
Yeah, they bought both books and put them in the school libraries.
And then my friends ended up stealing it and keeping it for themselves.
Well, when I got to the school, they were saying, I went to the library to look and see if our book was there. And Jamal, it was amazing. Mercy, when I was a child, 13 years old, my great aunt came to Germany where I was born and told every time we went on a tour, and no matter what they showed us, they go, oh, these are the jewels, the crown jewels of England. She goes, African. They go, these are the great trees from such and such a place. Greece. She said, African. They said, this medicine and these theories and mathematics came from Greece. She said, Africa. And she had a PhD too and was a principal at a school. So she could run down how it got to Greece, Italy, France, England, Germany, wherever we went, Jamal. And I said, by the time we get to the next country, I think we were going to Sweden. I said, Mama, doesn't she think white people did anything? She said, I heard that. She said, we are all one family. She said, we are all the same people. We, Black women, have everybody from white to dark. So dark, we're beautiful and purple. They're all our children. And they're not wicked or evil. I don't have any wicked or evil children. She said, I might have children that don't have knowledge that are misguided but not evil. And she said, everybody's not going to be good. So Jamal has had a view of the world. When I went to his school, I asked his principal, I said, is this a Jewish school? Because I called him up and he was home. I said, Jamal, what you doing home today? He says, Nana, everybody knows it's Hanukkah. I didn't know it was Hanukkah. And I thought, that's a Jewish holiday. The principal said it's about 8 of us that are not Jewish here. So then they celebrate all of the Jewish holidays. Jamel's project was to document his family history. Well, you know, the Jewish people take it all the way back to biblical times.
Yeah.
So my daughter calls me, and I had 7 generations of our family documented. And that began us documenting our history back to 948 BC in Africa. Cover that mouth. Wow. And 149 AD in Europe. So Jamal has been part of that project, and the book Keeper of the Fire that we wrote together and he illustrated. I wanted it to be meaningful for children, important for Africa, to show we can document our history. Africans kept great records. You maybe just can't read them, but you must look everywhere, not just where you live, for African history. So it's not a matter that Africa doesn't keep history and didn't keep books. It's that we couldn't read it. Jamel, do you remember our tree bark fabric map? What's the most important thing in our collection that you liked?
Do you remember your first, the first quilt show I went to?
Where was it?
It was in Georgia.
Oh, okay. Yes. I do.
It was when Omi was still around, and the one where it like almost showed a story. It was. It showed that it was. It showed the whole story of how the slave trade and all of that happened. So it was like, came here from Africa, and then they escaped, and that's my favorite piece. I don't know if you still have it or not, but
Mercy, I'm a master quilter. So the quilt behind us, this is the last quilt my mother and I, of course I still have it. I hate to say I'm a quilt hoarder, but we have over 1,000 textiles. So I'm a textile artist and I hand make the ones. This is the last one my mom and I and several other quilters made. And wow. Yes, I wanted to have it up there because each of these patterns are a textile language from East Africa brought to West Africa and then here in America. And it's called the Underground Railroad Quilt Code. So these patterns came on the bodies of people, and I'll post the pictures on our internet Facebook pages and on YouTube. And so they tell people the direction to go, where is not safe, where is safe, that you could get food, change your clothes. And so it says the monkey wrench turned the wagon wheel, right there behind me, north up the road towards Canada. Follow the drunkard's path. Follow the flying geese by day, the North Star by night, up the Bear Paw Trail through the mountains. Soon you come to the crossroads. Shoe Fly, which is right there, says, dress up. Put on silk or satin bow ties for the men, Sioux bonnets, which is a hat that comes down like this to protect your head from the sun and your neck from the sun when you're doing your farming and out in the fields. It says soon you go to the cathedral church with the Dresden plate window. You can get married and they can cut the chains from your ankles. Thank God, child, for you be free. And it tells us basically when we get there, build a log cabin, dig a 9-patch garden. Child, when you get hot, you can stop and fan. Men can go sailing on sailboats. Children can play with pinwheels. And when someone dies, we weave sweetgrass baskets, put wildflowers in it, and put it on the grave. Thank God, child, for you be free. It'll always be howdy, howdy, and never goodbye. You and your children will never be sold away again. And what happened is me and my children, I have 8 kids, 17 grands, 7 great grands, and we have 2 expecting babies now. And so God has been very faithful.
2 or 3.
Yeah, well, Jasmine, who's like Jasmine's like my sister. My parents adopted the great grandchild when her mom died. She was 2 years old, and she's expecting 2, Jamel. So we got a year coming full of babies. But God has been very faithful to our family. in that
Very
Jamal
good.
lived in the same house. My parents had their house, their parents had their houses, and they all had college educations starting in 1902. Our
Wow.
family has gone to college, and 27 of them have gone to the same college, which people in the other countries don't know that people in America and Black people and minorities have history. We know our history. We can pass it down orally. We can leave documents and information for those coming behind us to find. But they said our family story wasn't true. In 2011, they unearthed Valongo, which was the largest slave port in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, only because they were having the World Cup football game and the 2016 Olympics. So they found the bones of East African people, come here, and West African people. Come and join us to say goodbye, Jamal.
What a very, very fascinating story, Nana. What we'd
Yes.
like to do now,
Yes.
as we're nearing the end of the show, we've actually passed the show
Oh,
time, but it's
we
okay.
got.
But we want to take a moment. Let's ask Nana who will be in studio next week.
Oh, so next week we're going to have my publisher, which is Marla Jones, and we're going to have my co-author, Karen Williams. They call her KJ. We did a book launch in Oklahoma. I haven't been to Oklahoma since I was 4 years old, Jamel. My brother was born there. My father was in the military and stationed there. And so I went back to Oklahoma for the first time, and I went someplace I always wanted to go, which was where Black people were bombed and killed because they had the most affluent town, and they've covered that up for years. So I got to do a book launch at that museum in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's where the Tulsa massacre was, and people were saying it wasn't true, but we are investigative reporters. We will
Yes.
find out what happened. And Mercy, here in the United States, they have over 100 cities that were all Black that they have filled in with water and took over the houses and the land for recreation and boating, and that's been unearthed too. So we continue to work on the Underground Railroad. I continue to fight human trafficking here in Atlanta for over 35 years. We talked about that on our last show. You can go out and watch any shows if you've missed. Make sure you
Yes.
organize a watch party. KJ or Karen called me out the blue, and my phone number is on the website, plantationquilts.com, which is my website. And we're going to put it up now. Let me lower my glasses where I can see the keyboard.
I can take care of it. Go ahead, T. We're gonna shut out in 30 in 60 seconds.
So what happened at Plantation Quilts, and it's .com, we fought. There's a modern day slavery that goes on in East Africa where they're taking people for money and hold them for ransom or put them into slavery. They're still doing that today. Atlanta, where I live at, is the #1 slaving hub. So Jamel, you live with slavery, but you don't ever see it going on. And so people think it doesn't exist. And they want to blame white people now that, oh, slavery was going on. Yeah, but some people never saw it, just like we don't ever see it. And that's the thing people have to understand. We still need to get people out of slavery, provide resources, which is what our families did on the Underground Railroad, and document it so people around the world can help and participate. We care about the
And
people.
yes, we'll get to know more and more and more about that in the entire month of August. Nana's going to be bringing us exciting stories, exciting
Yes.
stories
So,
from the
will you close
Underground
us out with our
Railroad,
kiss?
narratives, and also exciting people. So please stay tuned to Queen Mother
Yes.
Speaks. We're going to end the show today the way we
Yes.
always do. And the way
Mhm.
we end the show, Mercy and Jamel,
Yep.
is by sending love into the world. So we're going to get ready to do that right now. And here's how we do it. We blow a kiss with our left hand, then we blow a kiss with our right hand, and then we blow a kiss with both hands.
So I heard you're going to come
So
blow
we're
a
going to
kiss.
do this together. Are you ready?
Ready?
Are you ready? Let's go. Here we go.
Left hand.
Left hand. Okay. Your right hand. And now both hands.
So spread love today wherever you are and put a
Spread
smile
love
on.
wherever you are. Thank you, Mercy, for being with us today. We'll have you back on the show again. Jamal, we'll have you back on the show again. Go ahead and write your next book, son, because you have in your house, in your ear, in your bed, the one and only Nana. So
I
you are
do.
blessed to have her, Jamal. So go ahead and put out your next book, all right? And we're going to invite you back in to talk about that. Once
Thank
again, thank you for tuning in to Queen Mother Speaks. Nana, your
Thank
last words.
you. Yes. Make sure you take time to pray. Kentucky's flooding. Spain was on fire.
Mm,
Political elections going on. We want to pray for the safety and pray for your community. Prayer does work. We love you. And Jamal,
indeed.
this is going to be your first football. Oh, not your first football game, but school starts tomorrow. Do well. You always make us proud. He has been a great child, Mercy, and a great athlete, but a great person. He's a young man of the world who cares about other people. And we want you to do
Thank
the
you,
same.
Jamal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamal.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
This is
I'm
Queen
so
Mother Speaks.
fascinated. Very well
Yes.
done, Jamel. Keep up the good job. You are so young, so resourceful, so amazing, so fascinating. I long to meet you someday, and Nana too.
Ah,
You
We're
too.
going to
I've
very
come
met
well.
Queen
here.
Mother before.
We'll come.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay,
Queen
Nana,
Mother
did you
too.
get any photos?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nana,
I have.
did
No,
you
I
get any
didn't.
photos today? Please
I
get
did not.
one right now before we go off.
No, I can get it from the video.
Okay,
I
very
can get
well.
it. Yes.
Like this?
Yeah, like this.
Oh,
My grandson has taught me a lot about technology. He's a whiz.
really?
Yes, ma'am. And his mom, she's really good. She is really good.
So
His
he's
mother,
taught you a lot. So
I
he's taught
teach.
you a lot. Uh-huh. Well, I'm going to capture one right now.
okay. So Jamel, we try to take a picture of the show as a memory, but I realize I can just play the video full screen and take the pictures at a later date. So I have an Instagram page, One Keeper of the Fire. Teresa R. Kemp is my author's page, and Jamel has an author's page, so you'll get to see him. He was in the high school art show when he was in 3rd grade, and he's there. So I realized I hadn't checked back in with Jamel or put him on any of the programs and wanted him to share so he would inspire you to write a book cross-generationally and make sure that you leave the story of your family, your community, great people in your community, someone you know. It doesn't have to be you, but we need your story added to history, and we need you to do it. Thank you for watching. See you next week.
It's a beautiful day. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.